Hello, we're UATV. My name is Henry Keane. This is News Pulse. Welcome to the show. Today in the episode, peace talks between the United States and Ukraine stumble over one main issue: how to force Ukraine to give up on land. Will Europe find political will to act and call suspected danger what it actually is: Russian hybrid war? And as a third topic, please dive deeper into unknown drones troubling Europe. Our story for you. Thank you. Peace talks between the United States and Ukraine have stumbled over one main issue: how to force Ukraine to give up what the Kremlin has failed to seize during almost 4 years now of its criminal invasion, the entirety of the Donbas region. The reason the American administration forces Ukraine to give up on our Ukrainian homeland is very simple: because Putin says so. Literally, an indicted international criminal, a perpetrator of mass murders, rapes, arsons, war crimes including children abduction and killings, and everyday massive shelling of civilians in Ukraine, costing us lives every day. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, the one who promised to take Kyiv in 3 days, now, after 4 years, says that Russia will take Donbas anyway, and Donald Trump, who promised to end this war in 1 day, just believes him. Well, Ukraine believes, in turn, that giving up the remaining 30% of the Donetsk region, which includes the cities of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, with a total population of more than 100,000 people, would allow Putin to invade the Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, and Kharkiv regions.
We will not leave Donbas. We cannot do this. Donbas for the Russians is a springboard for a future new offensive. If today we leave Donbas, from our fortifications, from our reliefs, from the heights that we control, we will clearly open a bridgehead for preparing an offensive by the Russians. In a few years, Putin will have an open path to both the Zaporizhia and Dnipro regions. And not only that, also to Kharkiv, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, president of Ukraine.
Ukraine has insisted that any peace deal must involve the war being frozen on current lines. At present, some 30% of Donbas is still in Ukrainian hands. But the Russians see that the Trump administration is craving to stop the war, no matter what. And Russians are like, who cares in Minnesota or Illinois or Nevada or the great state of New York or any other great state of the United States about that Donbas in Ukraine, right? Come on, Americans, mind your own American problems and American business, says Putin. Just give me that small piece of land in Ukraine that you don't even know how to pronounce properly. What's in it for you in the first place? And Putin is right, nothing. There is obviously no human value that more important for Trump's administration than the price tag. Of course, it is not the case for all of the American people, but the majority have spoken. And now the epitome of American democracy, Donald Trump and his team, keep on trumping Ukraine to agree to the bad deal at the tremendous cost of Ukrainian sovereignty. And we should also do it as quickly as Trump wants, with Trump getting visibly frustrated with Kyiv when it is not happening fast enough. Zelenskyy has not commented on any of Trump's previous remarks, but he told Bloomberg that the US and Ukraine have not reached an agreement when it comes to Ukraine's east. Kyiv is still desperately trying to explain to the United States the obvious: rewarding dictator Putin with Ukrainian land that he has not managed to seize in more than 10 years, I mean since Crimea's occupation, and almost 4 years of direct invasion since February 2022, will only encourage dictator Putin to devour more. As this is the only thing Vladimir Putin, as a Soviet KGB midget, is capable of devouring. This is why you just shouldn't be feeding him, as simple as that. And even so, if Ukraine agrees on that deal, let's speculate, that immensely unfair, forced upon us by our closest ally deal, what are the guarantees? We had that Budapest memorandum, remember, with the same guarantors, the United States of America and Russia. Both of them, as of today, have betrayed us. Well, if you do know a more politically correct term I should be using now, please let me know, because I don't. One guarantor of our sovereignty and freedom, as per previous agreement, the United States of America is now ready to agree to literally anything to start trading with the other guarantor an invader, and a murderer, Russia. Which of them, in your opinion, we should be trusting more when signing the next peace deal? And what about Europe? Well, Europe is awakening, or so it seems at least.
If you look at Russia's current capabilities and combat power, Russia could kick off a small-scale attack against NATO territory as early as tomorrow. Small, quick, regionally limited, nothing big. Russia is too tied down in Ukraine for that. Lieutenant General Alexander Solfrank, in an interview to Reuters.
Oh, you're welcome, Europe. For 4 years, Ukraine, a small state that has nothing even close to European economic power, worth $27 trillion, by the way, is literally bleeding out for you, Europe, while European speechwriters just thrive. Fiery speeches almost on every corner and every summit are heard. I'm sure Russia is afraid, somewhat. The German Interior Ministry this week announced the creation of a joint drone defense center to coordinate federal police, state authorities and the Bundeswehr, while fast-tracking new detection systems for the country's most important airports. The move follows a sharp rise in drone sightings near German aviation hubs. Over 250 incidents had been reported in the last 3 months alone, putting 2025 year on track for a bad record year. Several German officials, including Chancellor Friedrich Merz, have said they suspect Russia is behind most of the activity, framing it as a part of a broader hybrid pressure aimed at testing Western infrastructure, according to Bloomberg. Suspect. That was a word I was looking for when I was trying to say that the United States of America and Russia betrayed us, Ukraine, in the past and are likely doing it again. But I was wrong. I'm sorry. What I should have said is that I suspect them to. Thank you, Chancellor Merz, and other voices of common sense.
The alliance should prioritise shows of force that illustrate strength and unity. In practice, that means rapidly announcing whether Moscow is behind a hybrid attack and running no-notice military exercises on the Russian border with Lithuania or Estonia. Oana Lungescu, former NATO spokesperson.
Yes, the alliance should, as it has all it actually needs in terms of military power. Will there be enough political will? Well, look into our story for you to find that out.
Germany's Interior Ministry has announced the creation of a new federal police unit to protect against drones. Response teams have been deployed across the country and equipped with the latest technologies. In addition, the ministry reported the formation of a joint drone defense center, which will coordinate the work of police forces in Germany's federal states with the federal center and the army.
We've recognized that war has fundamentally changed. This is no longer the First World War. This is no longer tanks shooting at tanks. We have a fundamentally new reality: war using drones. My experience over the past few months, gained from communicating with representatives of many armies and defense ministries in Europe, proves that they still think we are at peace, but that is not the case. Benjamin Wolba, co-founder of the European Defense Tech Hub.
Germany's air traffic control reported that since the beginning of 2025, 208 incidents have been recorded in which unmanned aerial vehicles posed a danger to civil aviation. For comparison, there were 149 such cases in 2024. Several times, unidentified drones forced German airports to suspend operations.
The further we go, the more and more such cases occur: sabotage and cyber attacks. We must understand that such incidents will intensify, and if Europe does not demonstrate effective countermeasures, it will only encourage Putin to increase this activity.
Germany is in Russia's focus because it is NATO's central logistics hub in Europe and one of Ukraine's key partners, believes the head of the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, Sinan Selen.
A clear sign of a highly dangerous escalation is the preparation and execution of sabotage attacks in Germany and other European countries, for which the Kremlin is considered the primary instigator. There is no sign of any relief in sight. Sinan Selen, president of the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, from a publication by Deutsche Welle on Telegram.
Russia's hybrid aggression poses a threat to the entire continent, analysts are convinced. On 7th December, the Netherlands scrambled 2 F-35 fighters due to an unknown drone appearing in its sky. As the Ministry of Defense reported, the drone left the country's airspace on its own after a short pursuit. All of this is deliberate, well-planned operations, pursuing several goals, experts believe. One is to show that Russia can do it. Another is to test the European air defense system. Therefore, both NATO and the EU must be ready to repel attacks from the aggressor country. They are convinced at Alliance Command.
We also do think about being proactive, is the word I would use. In other words, if Russia is attempting to provide dilemmas to us, then maybe there are ways that we could provide dilemmas to them. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to get into the specifics of how we might be providing those dilemmas. But again, your comment that, hey, we are a defensive alliance is absolutely true. There's nothing offensive about this. This is about defending every inch of alliance territory.
The United Kingdom is strengthening not only air defense, but also underwater defense amid growing Russian hybrid activity. The British Ministry of Defense stated that in 2025, it invested millions of pounds in developing and testing anti-submarine sensors as part of the Atlantic Bastion program, a Royal Navy initiative to ensure the security of the North Atlantic.
The Russian spy ship Yantar in and out British waters. We know what they were doing. We tracked it every mile of the way. But it is Russia mapping, surveying, and in times of conflict, with the capacity to sabotage critical pipes, networks that our country depends on. And if we want to keep ahead of our adversaries, if we want to give our British Navy, with allies like the Norwegians, the edge on the battlefield, the edge on deterrence, then we have to combine the new technology that we saw today to be able to track, to be able to find, and if necessary, to be able to respond to the threats that we may face in the future.
The Atlantic Bastion project will integrate ships, submarines, aircraft, and drones using artificial intelligence-based acoustic detection technology and integrate them into a digital targeting network. The UK Ministry of Defence explained that this will allow detecting, monitoring, and, if necessary, acting to neutralize the adversary. Reported by Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Shtenhelov, UATV News.
This is it for today. I'm Henry Keane. Thank you so very much for your time and for your attention and for you standing so firmly for Ukraine. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel so to stay tuned to what is happening in the world, presented to you by us UATV in always Ukrainian point of view. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.